So, I just finished Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated. So I'm going to do a review for both seasons of the show. So if you don't want spoilers, there may be mild spoilers in this video. If I decide to talk about major spoilers, I will warn you, but for the most part, it's going to be mild spoilers. So if that's the thing you're concerned about, you can leave now. But for the most part, I really won't be spoiling anything that will ruin your viewing experience of the show if you decide to check it out. Because while this is a pretty talked about show in like some cultures of the, like some parts of the internet, especially the cartoon community, majority of everyday people and just like people in general just don't know what this show is. And if you haven't seen this show, you really should if you like Scooby-Doo at all. And even if you don't like this show, even if you don't like Scooby-Doo, I recommend this show. I should rephrase that. I recommend you giving the show a chance. I would say this: if you watch about the first 15 to 10 episodes or so, and you're not into the show, actually, I just say the first 10 episodes, you're not gonna like this show at all. You're not. It is the same show, beginning to end, but I would say 10 episodes to get used to the format of the show. That's usually the amount I give every TV show, is 10 episodes. And if you're not used to the format of the show and you're still not enjoying the show, just quit. Unless I'm going to do a review, of course. Obviously, I watch everything of the show. Maybe I skip like one episode of the show if it's like a show that's episodic. So, like, you don't need to see every single episode of The Simpsons. You just don't. It doesn't continue an ongoing story. But you need to see every episode of Gravity Falls to understand the whole story, right? So, yeah, that's kind of the difference there. And so it may change from show to show, but that's how I do things majority of this time. This is a very different incarnation of Scooby-Doo. I've actually been on a Scooby kick lately. I still got to watch the original series, which this is my original Scooby-Doo Where Are You complete series Blu-ray set, which is a really nice set. Like, look at this box. It's got the Haunted Mansion, all the characters on it. Came with the Funko Pop keychain, which I'm not sure where it is. Where my backpack is, but it's on my backpack. I think, yeah, it's right there. I'm looking at it. But it's a nice set, and it comes with that. So it does look a little weird that there's this hole where that pop used to be, because I don't know if you can see it there. This is like propped up, and then there's this space in between where that is supposed to go. So it's a little awkward. What they really should have done is just put Daphne and them on the front and found another way to kind of squeeze in that pop. But there's a mini version of like a Scooby encyclopedia, which is kind of cool to see. And of course you got the actual thing that holds your disc, which be careful with this, because I actually bought this and it was popped out as soon as it came in the mail. But there's 4 discs. The episode guide is right here before you flip it open to the disc. So if you want to see all your episodes, I would prefer an actual booklet that showed you where the episodes were. But it's still a nice set. It's a little difficult to display on a shelf because of the weird shape of it, but it looks cool, and it's a decent size, I would say. It's just an odd shape, shaped like an actual house. That's cool. And then on my second channel, I did a review for Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island. I still have to watch Return to Zombie Island, which I haven't decided whether I'm going to stay up and watch this movie. It's like 10 o'clock at night. I probably shouldn't, but if you saw my Surviving the Coronavirus video, I mentioned that I'm going to be stuck in the house for the next couple days. So, staying up doesn't really matter, because I can just sleep all day if I really wanted to, because I got no plans. But, so stay tuned for that. But I'm sorry, I'm kind of getting off topic, but I just kind of wanted to explain what's going on with me and why I'm like so into Scooby-Doo lately. And I think I just really got excited for the movie Scoob, and that's why I got so into Scooby-Doo. And that's why I bought the original series. But then why I bought that Zombie Island 2-pack was that I really enjoyed the show. I saw this, I was watching it on Netflix, and I've heard so many people talk about it, and I thought it was finally time I watched the show. And yeah, it's pretty great. It's about 52 episodes each season. This is not like any other Scooby-Doo show before it. It is not episodic. So what that means is you can watch one episode and you don't have to see any other episodes to understand the story of that episode. That's what an episodic show is. You can watch any random episode of Scooby-Doo and you get the point of Scooby-Doo. Not with this show. This show actually has an ongoing story and mystery. Basically, the point is to find out what happened to the original Mystery Incorporated gang and the history of Crystal Cove, the town that this show is set in. Because unlike in other Scooby-Doo shows, where they just travel from place to place without really any explanation or anything, they just kind of drive around in a van. That's basically it. This show's not like that. It is set in one location with little mysteries in each episode. So, like, there may be this monster attacking the school dance or whatever, and so they investigate that or something like that. But slowly there's more and more mysteries uncovered to where the history of the original Mystery Incorporated gang is, and the history of Crystal Cove. And so that aspect of the show is very different, makes it more enjoyable and very bingeable too, because you have all these episodes here, and you know, with the normal Scooby-Doo show, you don't really binge it. You watch 1 or 2 episodes, it's whatever. But this show, you binge it. Because of the way it's formatted, it makes it really fun and engaging to watch. You're like, oh crap, this episode ends on this cliffhanger. I gotta watch this episode, and you keep watching. It's super engaging in that sense. It's something that is really cool that no other Scooby-Doo show from my memory has ever done or employed. I mean, it is super ambitious for them to do this. It's also ambitious for what they did with the characters. What they did with the characters is really smart in some areas, but I think it didn't work out completely the best. I think for some characters it worked out really great. Fred and Daphne, I think they really worked with those characters really well and their dynamic of their relationship. They made Fred this super obsessed idiot with traps, and so he's kind of a doofus, has a hard time admitting his feelings and stuff, and so that gives a lot of comedy in the show, along with the sheriff of the town, voiced by Patrick Warburton, who, if you don't know who Patrick Warburton is, he voiced Krunk in The Emperor's New Groove, and he's excellent in the show too. But in terms of like that, what it does to Freddy, it makes him a lot funnier and more of an enjoyable character, and it gives him actual character development. What I don't like necessarily is what they did with Scooby, Shaggy, and Velma. Velma and Shaggy are dating. Now, these characters have no chemistry. I cannot believe that these characters actually fell for each other or have any chemistry. And then that weird episode where Scooby finds out, because majority of the show they try to keep it a sequel, and like, this isn't a major spoiler, it's just a minor plot point. It ain't gonna ruin your experience, but if you're worried about this, I'm gonna talk about this for about a couple minutes or so I'd say skip a couple minutes up ahead. It is, he says, "Are you cheating on me?" And it's like, Scooby, you're a dog. So Shaggy Shaggy. Why did I say Shaggy? Shaggy chooses his relationship with Scooby over Velma. And it's just like, I can't believe these characters have any chemistry. And it's a dog. It's really dumb. It doesn't make sense. And it's a weird plot point to put in the show. It would make sense if Shaggy had an interest in another girl at school, and he was kind of into it, kind of became more of a nerdy kid. Or even if they wanted to make, change Shaggy to more of a nerdy guy, but Shaggy doesn't care about his health much. Velma cares more about her health and things like that, and she, I just don't believe these characters have anything. I guess it's that term, like, opposites attract, but I don't know. I didn't think it worked out well. I don't know how you would really necessarily fix it, because you got to give something for these characters to kind of have an arc through the show. You don't want to just make it about Fred and Daphne, but at the same time, there had to be a better way to write this. I'm not sure what that would have been, but it does not work very well. And Scooby is just like, he has a romantic interest in a dog, which is weird because that dog, it's kind of weird because you think that dog can't talk throughout half the show, and this is another mild spoiler, so I guess skip ahead another couple minutes. It's really awkward because you think that dog can't talk, and that finds out there's like something that's revealed about that dog, but it's really freaking weird and kind of really strange. I don't know. But yeah, I think parts of the show are really good. I think what they did with the characters and what the story is definitely in a really good improved change. But I think in some areas it didn't work out the best. But I still think this is the best Scooby-Doo show up to date. And if you want something different from the franchise, or if you've never liked the format of Scooby-Doo and you want something different, that's a good thing. But I also should say this isn't a complete departure from what Scooby-Doo is. There's still many jokes made towards longtime fans. There's a joke where they make fun of Scrappy-Doo. That joke's been memed to death in the outside of the show, but it was a really funny moment in the show and just one random episode. There's episodes where they kind of cross over with Hanna-Barbera characters, like there's Johnny Quest characters that kind of show up for one episode. There's an episode where they team up with Dynamite and Blue Falcon, just like at Scoob. And then there's an episode where Scooby has like a fever dream and teams up with like Hanna-Barbera characters. That episode's really funny because all the characters devote back to their old janky Hanna-Barbera style animation, and so that episode's super funny and fun to watch. So there's not departures here from what Scooby-Doo is. It's still very much Scooby-Doo. I will say this though, if you always loved the character of Scooby-Doo, he is kind of sidelined in the show. He's not really focused on that much. He has like one or two episodes focused on him, but for the most part, it's focused on the actual gang. And so, yeah, Scooby-Doo isn't really where all the comedy comes from here. It comes from the character interactions and some of the dialogue and stuff. And so Scooby is very much sidelined, but he's still here. He's still an important part of the show. But I'm just saying, a lot of people watch Scooby-Doo for Scooby himself, and he's not very much a major part of this show at all, honestly. I think it's really cool that they actually did this, and I think it actually added to the show, because as much as I like Scooby-Doo, Scooby was never the best part of Scooby-Doo. His comedy was more so for little children and little kids. That's why he's the mascot of the franchise. And yeah, and I think as that, he's a decent character, but really the gang is what makes this series work, and yeah, I really enjoyed it. So yeah, I really recommend this series. know I spent like a lot of time talking about it, but there was just a lot to say about it, and I didn't think I was actually going to record a video, but after watching the whole series, I felt like, yeah, I really should watch this whole series and record a video on it, because you know what? The show is actually really great.